Okay, in Mod 4, Lesson 9, we were basically applying what we've been working on the last couple of days, but we're doing with conversion of measurement units now. Okay. So as you can see on the first one, they've done it for us. It says 1/4 yard equals 9 inches. Now, what I like doing is making a tape diagram out of this. Since I didn't do that, I'll do that over here. And it says here, it says 1/4 yard, so we're going to put it into 4 sections. And it says 1/4 yard right here. It's 1/4 yard. Since this is 1/4 yard, that means the top is 1 yard. Now the question wants you to be in inches. So we know that 1 yard is equal to 3 feet, and 3 feet is equal to 36 inches. So that allows us to set up right here where 1/4 times 36 inches, which equals 36 over 4, and we know 36 divided by 4 is 9 inches. So I know this is 9, and I like filling out the tape diagram just because I know 1/4 equals 9, but then when I fill it up, 9 times 4 is 36, and that kind of verifies that I got the correct answer. Now the next one, it says 1/6 of a foot equals inches. So this here is actually 1/6 of a foot right here, and this is 12 inches, which is really 1 foot, and then we converted it to 12 inches. And that allows us to set up 1/6 times 12, which means this will come up to be 12 over 6, and we know 12 divided by 6 equals 2. So each one of these would be 2, and once again, we've answered the question. It's 2 inches. But now we can double check ourselves because 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, that equals 12 inches total. So we double checked ourselves. On C, we're going to set up our tape diagram. And it says 3/4, so we're splitting it into quarters. And we're looking at 3/4 of a year. Since it's so 3/4 of a year, that means the top is 1 year. And they want this in months, and we know that's 12 months. So that lets us set up 12 months times 3/4 of a year, which equals 12 times 3 over 4. And we know 4 we're going to 4 one time, 4 we're going to 12 3 times, and that leaves us with 9 over 1, which equals 9. So we know this equals 9 months. So let's go ahead and put 9 in each one of them. So 3/4, oh, excuse me, that doesn't equal 9 months. 3/4 of a year would be 9 times 3, which is actually 27 months. And we can double check ourselves because see, what did I do here? 9, 1, be 3/4 of a year is 9 months. Oh, excuse me, 3/4 of a year is 9 months. That means each one of these would be 3. That's where the problem's at. So each one of these would be 3. Now when we add it up, 3, 6, 9, 12, so we know it's 12 months. So the correct answer, once again, is 3/4 of a year is 9 months. Almost made a mistake there. So that's why going back and doing the tape diagram really helps you make sure you don't make a mistake. Now here's our tape diagram. Once again, we're going to split this one into fifths, and we're looking at 3/5 of a meter. That means the total is 1 meter. And this is the one in centimeters, and we know 1 meter equals 100 centimeters. So now we've got 100 times 3/5, which equals 100 times 3 over 5. 5 is going to 5 one time. 5 goes into 100 20 times. So now we equal 60 over 1. So 3/4 of a meter equals 60 centimeters. Now, 60 centimeters divided by 3 units is going to give us 20 centimeters per unit. So when we fill it in, we can check it. 20 times 5 is 100. So we got our 100 centimeters. The next one, 5/12 hour. So we're dividing this into 12. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now, we want 5/12, so that's going to be 5/12 right here. And that's 5/12 of an hour. Now, it wants minutes, so we know this here, it says 5/12 an hour, so this is 1 hour here, which is equal to 60 minutes. So that allows us to go 60 times 5/12, which equals 60 times 5 over 12. And I know 12 will go into 12 one time. 12 goes into 60 5 times. So that's going to equal 25 ones, which equals 25. So I know 5/12 of an hour equals 25 minutes. Now, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 25 divided by 5 is going to put 5 in each. Now, I know there's 12 units here, so 5 times 12, I know 5 times 12 is 60, so it checks. Our last one here, it says thirds, so we're going to split it into thirds, and it wants to know 2/3 of a yard. And it means the total is 1 yard. And I want inches, and I know 1 yard equals 3 feet, which equals 36 inches. So we're going to have 36 times 2/3, which equals 36 times 2 over 3. And I know 3 are going to 3 one time. 3 are going to 36 12 times. And I have 12 times 2, so I'm going to have 24 over 1, which equals 24. So I know 2/3 yards equals 24 inches. And since it's divided by 2 units, I know this would be 12, 12, and 12. And 12 times 3 would be 36, so it checks again. Michelle measured the length of her forearm. It was 3/4 of a foot. How long is her forearm in inches? Okay. Here's our tape diagram. We're splitting it into fourths, and we're going with 3/4 of a foot. And that means this is 1 foot. It wants it in inches, so I know if 1 foot equals 12 inches, so 12 inches times 3/4 of a foot equals 12 times 3 over 4. 4 goes into 4 one time, 4 goes into 12 3 times, which equals 9 over 1, so it equals 9. So 3/4 of a foot equals 9 inches. Now 9 inches is split across 3/4. So I know to be 3 each when I fill them out. 3 times 4 equals 12, so it checks. So her forearm was 9 inches long. 2A. Well, 3A. At the market, Miss Wynn bought 3/4 pound of grapes and 5/8 pound of cherries. How many ounces of grapes did she buy? Okay, it says here she bought 3/4 pound. So I'm going to go ahead and do a tape diagram. It is 3/4, so we're putting it into 4. She bought 3/4 of a pound, 3/4 of a pound. So that means this is 1 pound. Now 1 pound equals 16 ounces. So that sets us up to 16 times 3/4, which equals 16 times 3 over 4. 4 going to 4 one time, 4 goes into 16 4 times, and that equals 12 over 1. So she bought 12 ounces. So this is 12 ounces equals 12 ounces. OZs. And so 12 divided by 3, so that's going to be 4 each. And I can see that would be 4 times 4 is 16, so it gives me my 16 ounces. Now, how many ounces of cherries did he buy? Okay, well, cherries said he bought 5/8 of a pound. So we're going to split this into 8s. And it says she bought 5/8 of a pound. And once again, this is 1 pound, which equals 16 ounces. So now we got 16 times 5/8, which equals 16 times 5 over 8. 8 goes into 8 one time, 8 goes into 16 two times, so that's going to be 10 over 1, so it equals 10 ounces. So this one here equals 10 OZ. And it was divided into 5/8, so it's going to be 2 ounces each, because 10 ounces divided by 5 would be 2 each. When I put them in there, 8 times 2 is 16, so it checks. Now see, how many more ounces of grapes than cherries did Mr. Wynn buy? Well, he bought 12 ounces of grapes. He bought 10 ounces of cherries. So they bought 2 ounces more. Mr. Phillips bought 1 3/4 pounds of raspberries. Who bought more fruit, Mrs. Wynn or Mr. Phillips? Okay, and it says in ounces. Well, let's convert this, because we already know between this one here that he had 12 ounces and 10 ounces, which is 22 ounces. So let's look at this one. I know 1 pound equals 16 ounces. So I need to convert to 3/4. So I know 3/4 times 16 ounces would equal 3 times 16 over 4. 4 going 4 one time, 4 goes into 16 4 times. So it'll be 12 over 1, which equals 12. So you would have bought 12 more ounces, because that would have been a 3/4. So they bought 28 ounces. So Mr. Phillips bought, and wants to know how many more in ounces. So 28 minus 22 is 6. Bought 6 more ounces of fruit. Mr. Gardner has 10 pounds of soil. He used 5/8 of soil for a garden. How many pounds of soil did he use in the garden? How many pounds did he have left? Okay, so here's our tape diagram. Now, it says eighths, so let's go ahead and split it into eighths. It says he used 5/8 of it. That's 5/8 of it, and he used in the garden. This is garden. That means he has 3/8, and this is what was left. And basically, this is 10 pounds. Now, it wants to know how much to use in the garden. Well, we can see we have 10 pounds times 5/8, which equals 10 times 5 over 8. Now, there is, 8 cannot go into any of them, but I can. 2 will go into 8 4 times. 2 goes into 10 5 times. So we end up at 25/4. And now we can divide this to find out. 4 goes into 25 6 times. 6 times 4 is 24 with 1 remainder. So it'll be 6 1/4 pounds. So this would equal 6 1/4 pounds that he used in the garden. Now, that means that this one here should be 3 3/4 pounds. Because if I just add 6 1/4 plus 3 3/4, I should get 10 pounds. But let's work it out. I have 10 pounds times 3/8, which would equal 10 times 3 over 8. Let's do the same thing. I know I can take 2 will go into 8 4 times. 2 goes into 10 5 times, which equals 15/4. 15 divided by 4. 4 goes into 15 3 times, which is 12. And we have 3 left over, which is 3/4. So it checked.